The man who was to become Emperor of the French and threaten total domination of continental Europe's Old World Order was born in the year 1769 at Jacco, Corsica. Napoleon di Buonaparte was from a house of minor Florentine nobles dating back to 1261. His mother and brother Joseph recall that during his early youth he could often be found secluded in his room or beneath a tree as an avid reader, especially of histories. He received his schooling in France as an indirect result of France's annexation of the island of Corsica in 1769. His instructors marked him as a talented though thoughtful and gloomy character. At the age of 16, Napoleon became an artillery officer at the École Militaire. Following the French Revolution, Napoleon distinguished himself as a hero of the Republic and its people in the Italian campaigns of 1792 to 1797. Dissatisfied with the increasingly dysfunctional Republic of the Directorate, Napoleon headed a coup to install new government, the Consulate, in 1799. On May 18, 1804, the Senate of the Consulate ratified legislature, reorganizing the state into an empire, with Napoleon as its sovereign.
Napoleon faced a lot of battles and struggles during his time, many of which he had to make hard decisions for, each and every one of them. The Battle of Trafalgar marked the defeat of the French and Spanish navies in 1805, establishing Britain as the dominant world naval power for a century. The Battle of Trafalgar became one of the most famous naval battles in British history. Another important battle was the Austerlitz, which was a battle of the three emperors. This was a decisive battle that brought Austria and Russia to peace terms. This led France gaining Austria's holdings in northern Italy, creating a confederation of the Rhine. This was the final dissolution of the Holy Roman Empire. What ended it all was called the Sixth Coalition. Here we saw the removal of Napoleon from power in France and subsequent exile to the island of Elba. Following the War of the Sixth Coalition, the first exile marked the period between Napoleon's return from exile on the island of Elba to Paris in 1815.
After being exiled for the first time, Napoleon was determined to make himself a fixture in the French court. This was to begin and end in 100 days, starting with his return from exile and dissolving the French court system, all leading up to his defeat at the Battle of Waterloo, which would become the final defining moment of Napoleon's rule. Regardless of his eventual exile and subsequent death in 1821, Napoleon's legacy has resounded across Europe and changed the world as we know it. The Napoleonic Code is a great example of this lasting legacy. This was one of the first guaranteed rights to own property and freedom to work in any occupation, among other rights that we still enjoy today. Closer to home, the territory of Louisiana was not only sold to Thomas Jefferson through Napoleon, but the actual state of Louisiana continues to govern through Napoleonic ideas. The concept of Louisiana civil law, or French law, can be traced back to the Napoleonic Code. Civil law is law that is based on codes and written statutes, while common law, which is practiced in the other 49 U.S. states, is based on precedent. Napoleon also succeeded in creating one of the most well-known art collections that we have available to us today. Originally the home of Louis XIV, the Louvre is now home to the world-famous Mona Lisa, among many other works. Napoleon Bonaparte is a part of our world as we know it, whether we like it or not.